And Bramwell, I'll start with you. What is the status of Nairobi, first of all, before we get into the intervention measures?
Thank you very much, Trevor, and good morning, senators and viewers. Indeed, Nairobi has borne the brunt of the current floods that have hit the entire nation and many parts of the world, if I may say so, disrupting many lives and livelihoods, causing a lot of damage to infrastructure. We've had many houses swept away, particularly in the low-income settlements. But also we've witnessed an interesting phenomenon this time round. Even medium to high-end areas, Runda, Westlands, Kileleshwa, Kilimani, have also experienced a lot of damage to many houses. We've seen a disruption of, many schools destroyed, critical infrastructure such as bridges, many that connect vital parts of the low-income areas have also been destroyed. Food security is now a challenge. We've seen that in many cases, urban agriculture has been disrupted. We currently estimate that close to 16,000 households have been affected, about 60,000 residents sort of displaced. We continue to track the impact of what is going on. As we speak right now, from a disaster management perspective, we are no longer dealing with matters of mitigation. We are actively at the response stage, and therefore different stakeholders have come together to put together resources to help alleviate those that have been affected, and also to embark on the process of rehabilitating some of the critical infrastructure. So just to speak that in Nairobi, the hardest hit areas are the Mathare Basin, mostly Mathare and Ruaraka, and certainly parts of Kibra have also been affected, especially Lindi and Sarangombe. In Mathare, we have the Mathare 4A area, we have the Utali area, we have the Babadogo area in Ruaraka. We've also witnessed widespread damage in the Kasarani area. We have Molem in Embakasi. We've also have the Mukuru belt that also has witnessed quite a bit of damage. Yeah. So just to say, Trevor, that indeed many people have been displaced and have been affected.
You estimate that 16,000 households and 60,000 displaced, but many critics say your response has been slow.
Well, I think just to put things into proper perspective, Trevor, speaking as a chief officer in charge of disaster management and coordination in the county of Nairobi, this is not the first time we are responding to emergencies of this nature. The most frequent hazard that we face in Nairobi, mostly in the low-income settlements, is fire. And many a time, we've had close to about 450 fires in this year alone. And that tells you that we've been responding quite effectively to what I would consider to be localized incidents of emergencies. The difference this time round is the scale and extent of what you're witnessing as a county, but even as a nation.
Are you saying you're not prepared? Because the warning signs were there.
Well, preparation is one thing, but you know that you can never prepare enough for a disaster. We've done our best in terms of the mitigation and prevention measures, which included, first and foremost, even restructuring how the department was. We created a disaster risk reduction unit, which was focusing on matters of mitigation and prevention. So under mitigation and prevention, you're looking at things like creating public awareness, particularly to those communities that live along vulnerable areas, the riparian lands and along the river systems. So we've been working very closely with them, together with the National Government Administration, to sensitize them on the perils of flooding, and also putting in place early warning systems that would caution them to evacuate as and when dangers were imminent.
But did they?
Initially they didn't, but you can see that over the last 1 week, the number of actually affected fatalities have reduced, meaning that most people have actually evacuated, if nothing else, out of necessity. Secondly, we came up with contingency plans where we'd identified holding centers, mostly the social halls, churches in these areas, where those persons that would be displaced would then be accommodated on a temporary basis. So to a large extent, I must say that we did what we can. But, you know, disaster management is not just a response aspect. It's also about community resilience. How do we adapt to the dangers and the perils that we face? Because disasters will be there, floods will be there. So how do we then adapt? And adaptation is really a community response strategy.
Okay.
And in many ways, as a sector, we were overwhelmed by the number of incidents. When you're talking about floods hitting 7 to 8 sub-counties, with the limited resources that we have as a county government to respond, even when you draw in on the support of the military, of the Red Cross, and other humanitarian aid workers, being able to respond to, say, 8 or 9 sub-counties in a night will stretch your capacity. And unfortunately for professions such as emergency response, you never quite get to acknowledge and celebrate the successes. What comes out of the cases where we are not able to reach out to, say, Mama Nafula in Kibra, or somebody who's in Ruai. Those then tend to stand out. But I want to assure you that I have been on the forefront, and I want to just take this opportunity, Trevor, to really salute the firefighters in Nairobi, the emergency responder workers, the Green Army that has been at the forefront of working with the communities to clear garbage, clear drainage systems, the community health practitioners, the CHPs actually have been at the forefront to even help mitigate some of the secondary hazards that would have arisen, such as the waterborne diseases.
Okay.
So there's a lot that has been happening. It's just that we've not had an opportunity really to profile and catalogue the success stories.
Okay.
What is standing out are just some of the incidents where we were unable to reach those that are affected. Okay. But we continue to endeavour and aspire.